Game Freak, what are you doing to me here? So continuing our journey through Pokemon Legends ZA, at the point where you finally get to battle to reach rank A, the trainer you're supposed to have your promotion match against is, Grisham? Now who the heck is that? Well, that ends up actually being a very good question, as we need to go to Emma to find that out, and after a quick battle with her in which she uses my friend Malamar, she'll finally divulge the details. So she begins by telling us a little about the history of Team Flare as well as Lysandre. You know, more retcon revisionist history, because Lysandre was actually trying to help the Kalos region, but he got lost along the way. A lot of other people at Team Flare actually wanted to make a difference, and Grisham was one of the members primed to be a leader in the next generation. Though now that Team Flare is officially disbanded, he's now somewhere in the city and has become one of the high-ranked trainers. So to learn even more, we head to Mabel, who yeah, we all know was a former member of Team Flare. She wasn't really hiding anything anyway, and I guess that kind of answers the question of why she still has a logo on her laptop and her gamer chair, because apparently people don't really hold any ill will toward Team Flare. Or if they do, it's not necessarily like an extreme taboo, like people will still look at you differently as Mabel says, but again they were all just able to reintegrate into society. So that is now where she tells us we can find out more at the Novu Cafe, one of the locations we visit often throughout the story, but the two characters who work there were never given a name, making it seem like they were just some sort of generic NPC, though their designs definitely had me suspicious. And that is where we find out the guy inside the food truck is actually Grisham himself, the leader of Novu Team Flare, and the woman outside is introduced as Griselle. So yeah, ooh boy, and as the story unfolds they make a great pair and I really do like them honestly. But the journey to get there isn't exactly paved with rainbows, as we're then led to the old location of Lysandre Cafe, which, oh my gosh, I can't believe that was never here. The city's so big and I've not explored every single inch of it to this point, but yeah, apparently the cafe was here the whole time, just closed and boarded up. We meet Grisham and Griselle here and oh my gosh, what is her dialogue? Oh my, I'm feeling things. On the other hand, Grisham is pretty keen to tell us what's going on, but before we can get any deeper, it's time to have a battle against Griselle. And yeah, this is a good battle, very quick and everything. As you know by now, my team is definitely equipped to fight some fire-type Pokemon, but it was a fun time, and again, I know I've mentioned it a bunch in videos so far, but I really do love how all of these important characters are introduced to us as pairs. For her Mega Evolution, she reveals that she has a Mega Pyroar, and oh my gosh, that is some design, though it is not powerful enough and cannot defeat the true peak performance of Feraligatr. So yeah, fun battle, they even go into their cafe routine right after, but right now is honestly probably one of my favorite portions of the story here, or at least, you know, this section of it, where we actually get to go inside of Lysandre Cafe, as well as the remnants of the underground Team Flare base. But right off the bat, I am becoming a big fan of Grisham as a character, because yeah, he really is a good guy, not necessarily a villain even though he is a part of Team Flare, but he really does believe in what they initially promised, and knows that what Lysandre did was a bad thing. On top of that though, he's also totally against AZ's actions from 3,000 years ago, you know, building the ultimate weapon and firing it to end the war. And even though we know now that AZ has kind of been redeemed from it, or at least story-wise, he's definitely a nicer person, he's found his happiness, and really wants to do what he can to atone for it, but at the same time I kind of want to put it past anybody if they didn't want to forgive him. Fun dynamic, and is something that I really do love to see in stories like this, where you have these various groups of people who all believe different things, but it doesn't necessarily boil down to two sides, a good and a bad. At the end of the day, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing if Grisham reached rank A in the ZA Battle Royale, but at the moment it is more important that I do it. So anyway, yeah, now we really get into the ruins of Lysandre Labs, and there are a bunch of Pokemon here. The overall puzzle of it isn't all that difficult. It's the usual thing of Pokemon dungeons where certain things are blocked off and you have to find the right key and so on and so on, but I think the atmosphere here is the most important part and was really something that I did not expect us to visit. There isn't a large amount of environmental storytelling so far, but the deeper we go, there are some interesting things here and there. We can find a whiteboard where Team Flare was jotting down some diagrams, and while you can definitely tell that these were meant to relate to the ultimate weapon, most of it is the usual Pokemon gibberish, but it was a great idea to use the original Pokemon sprites here as like little doodles, sorta giving them an in-universe explanation. Another interesting thing we can find is one of the stones from outside Geosenge, and I went ahead and walked around this slowly because I expected some sort of terrifying reveal on the other end, but it turns out it was just more rock. Eventually reaching the deepest part of the labs, yeah, it is really creepy, with just complete darkness until the computer reboots everything after sensing your keycards, and here we can find out a lot more about the ultimate weapon and everything that was going on, though a good amount of this is sort of recap or stuff that we would have already known, but I think the real purpose of it was to catch everybody else up. I mean like people who maybe didn't play the original X and Y because that came out over a decade ago, but it does at least clarify a lot of details. That is when L shows up, or you know, Lysandre, as we've now connected the dots, and we find out a little bit about what's going on with him. He's got some memory loss, though there are a lot of things he does remember now being back in this place, like how he now finally tells us what exactly is going on in Lumio City. It turns out that aside from the big weapon AZ built 3,000 years ago, he built another weapon, or you know, not a weapon, but a device, inside the Prism Tower of Lumio City, which Lysandre had also intended to use, but apparently the key to activate this new weapon was Floette that, you know, was just missing in action for the entire game. So now it all comes together and makes sense of why we want Floette to Mega Evolve now to save Lumio City. But of all things, yeah, we're told that by Lysandre first and foremost, so that is a really whole fun way of doing it. This event kinda does sow some distrust in AZ, or maybe some speculation or at least just acknowledgement of everything that he's done in the past as not necessarily being like super wholesome as we know him today. Again, a very interesting interpretation for people who might be playing this game and who never played X and Y. Oh, and also, yeah, the reason that Lysandre is alive is because Zygarde went out and saved him. In fact, Zygarde saved everybody it could during the situation 5 years ago. Yeah, some great revelations, and that leaves us here for now. And the final thing to do is catch up with Grisham and Griselle, who now we can finally understand. They were victims as well. Sure, they were part of Team Flare, but they were the young new recruits who dreamed of a brighter future, only for everything to come crumbling down, their leader missing in action, their organization now disbanded, and on top of that, now people don't like them, but they have to continue living in Lumios, because they still believe in making it a better place. So yeah, in all honesty, Grisham deserves to be the leader in Novu Team Flare. He's a good guy in all of this, though he still doesn't see eye to eye with us who are also good guys, or at least, you know, everybody else a part of Team MZ. So back at the hotel, we get caught up with AZ, who basically tells us everything we had just heard, but it's a lot better to get it straight from the horse's mouth, and also all of our friends hear the story as well. It is really nice though that we get some reanimation of the story and, you know, some great new footage that we can all use now, and the added confirmation that, yeah, there is a big old device inside of Prism Tower that we gotta stop. So in the end, a really interesting way to go about the story and, you know, give us the conflict of what exactly is going on. I think it might have been a bit cooler to have things build up a little more, though there had been hints here and there, and we had seen AZ acting a little, you know, sad boyish, thinking about what's going on, but at the very least with this whole event that gets kicked off with Grisham, now it's all gas right toward the finale. Oh, and yeah, obviously the last thing that we gotta do to wrap up this part of the story is actually battle Grisham. The funny thing is, I wouldn't say that the battle is like underwhelming, just that, you know, it's a usual battle, and me personally, I think my team might be just a bit over level just with everything I've been doing around Lumios, but he has a Mega Charizard, which I didn't expect, though for him being one of the top ranked trainers in the ZA Battle Royale, it just kinda gives me the whole Leon with Charizard vibes, the obvious favoritism. But like I said, I really do like him as a character and everything around him. Griselle is also really fun. So yeah, that's it. That unwraps the mystery of Griselle and Grisham. So let me know what you think in the comments about this section of the story. And now that we've met every high-ranked trainer in Lumio City, which one is your favorite? But anyway, there's only one more big thing to do to wrap up the story, and oh my gosh, the DLC is like next week. Oh, we better hurry. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, including the great Gators, Dude Prinny, Alex with Shiny Hunts, Cosmo Zero, Tyler Hopper, Koi Koi 13, Cemetery Hill, Cheese at 62, Gator Kid 509, TF, Mathaclog 947, Taijirai, Phantom, and Quago. If you would like to support, see your name here, get access to emotes for comments, live streams, sometimes early videos, and our members podcast, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky as well for more memes. Anyway, this is GatorX, and I'll catch you all later.
Peer into the haunted void and unleash the powers of Mega Evolution. Pokemon trading card game XY Phantom Forces. In stores now. Each booster pack of 10 cards sold separately. Cards vary by pack.